Stephanie Abrams here, dashing through the airport. I'm going on an adventure. I've got my backpack, I've got my laptop, I've got my traveling shoes on. Come along with me. Well, I am just delighted that you are with us. And for those of you joining us on TV, remember that you can find all the shows archived at biztv.com. And you can always see the most recent show complimentary. And you'll find BizVod, Biz Video on Demand. If you want to see the older archive shows, I'm going to invite you to subscribe to Biz TV, and that'll give you a chance to actually go back to see, the very first shows we did this year and throughout this year. And I just love all of your comments. I love all of your remarks and email questions, and been very exciting. You may recall that not long ago we had on a fellow named Tom Paul. He and his family own and manage and operate Tulamar Resort in Costa Rica, and this was one of those interviews that was a bingo moment for me. Because when I interview people, I always invite people I know are going to be fascinatingly interesting. But sometimes in the course of an interview, it's clear this is a place that is super special and I really need to see for myself. And so we made a special trip to Costa Rica, and we're just back, we could count the hours since we're back. And I'm so happy that Chris Paul, who lives on property but regrettably was not on property when we were there last week, he is the marketing director for the property, and I think gets his nose into more than that while he is there. So we invited him to come and be with us here in our studio. And we're going to be talking with Chris about Tulamar Resort, about Costa Rica, about our experience right after this. Hi, I'm Stephanie Abrams, and I love to go traveling, and I bet you do too, and that's why you're watching. But if you're going traveling, there are some things that you absolutely need. One is a passport. And another is something to entertain you, perhaps other than a video game while you're traveling. Maybe when you crawl in bed at night, or while you're on an airplane, or maybe waiting at the airport. Try Rumors by Stephanie Abrams. You'll find it at every online bookseller. It's a story of intrigue, mystery, love, lust, romance, and all wrapped up in rumors in a community where people like to talk about one another. And the end result, you'll never see coming. It's full of twists and turns, fast-paced, and people just love it. Go read the reviews and get yourself a copy for traveling with. Rumors by Stephanie Abrams.
What's this award? The Goddess Artemis Award.
God, yes, my God, I got two of them. That's also Goddess Artemis. This is the first one I got. That was the second one.
U.S. Congress.
Huh? Well, yeah, that one was given to me on Capitol Hill, and this one was given to me in Athens for my significant contribution to the growth and development of Greek tourism to Greece. That one was given to me in conjunction with Greek Independence Day celebrations in Washington, D.C. And this one the award was actually presented to me by Daniel Speckart, who at the time, July 7, 2010, was the ambassador from the U.S. to Greece. And he was invited to the event, and when he heard I was coming, he asked if he could be the one to present my award. So those are the two. She was Apollo's sister. I am so thrilled to have Chris Paul in our studio. Chris, when was the first time you were ever in Costa Rica? Can you remember?
That was a long, long time ago.
How old were you?
Oh, maybe 30, 34 or something.
Oh, so you were an adult.
I was an adult when
I had this feeling that you had been, an oft visitor
No,
during your childhood and teen years.
no. The first time would have been, oh God, it would have been 2002, 2003, maybe.
And what brought you there?
We all went down.
Who is we all?
My entire family for a Christmas vacation, and it was we were studying the property had just been built, or you would have seen them when you were on property. The premium villas and the select villas had just been built, and it wasn't really even. Using my air quotes here, a hotel yet, and we had no idea that in the subsequent 5 years that we were going to be fully immersed in the hotel business.
Oh, well, let's talk about that. So you and your family, I'm going to guess your dad, Tom Paul, and was somewhere in the forefront of the vision of let's take a family trip.
Yeah, well, he had gone down a little while earlier to tell my mom that his job was ending. When he got back from the vacation prior to us going down at Christmas time, that he would be retired. And so that was...
So off you all went.
So they liked it enough that we went back, and it was... Even then, we had no idea that we were going to get involved as a family business. And so, we went back, we enjoyed it, and then we went back again.
How many units were there? How many villas were there?
Tulamar Condominio has roughly 50 units or homes or houses. Now, of those 50, about 40 of them are part of the hotel. And then there are, say, 10, and I'm using general numbers, that are private homes that do occasionally rent, but those owners...
But for the most part, it's privately held, and...
They don't want to be in the hotel.
Now, for those of you who haven't had a chance to look at any of the things that we've put up in my blog or online and at the member photos... This is one gorgeous place. It's about a 3.5-hour lovely drive from San Jose International Airport in San Jose, Costa Rica. Do not get it confused and accidentally make reservations to fly to San Jose, California. You're going to be really disappointed. So you want to fly, and there are nonstop flights from a variety of U.S. destinations into Costa Rica. We chose to go into Fort Lauderdale, spend some time there, spend some time in Miami, fly to Costa Rica, fly back to Miami, pick up a car, drive down to Key West. I mean, as long as I was there, I wanted to accomplish as much as possible. It was doable. It didn't wear us out. You could do the same unbelievable trail and have the same unbelievable experience. And we were 6 nights at Tulamar Resort. And I have to tell you, when you made an earlier remark that I'm going to pick up on about what people don't know about Tulamar Resort that I've got to share with you and my audience right after these important messages. Stay with me. We'll be right back. Stay tuned for more. I am delighted to have Chris Paul in the studio with me. He and his family own and operate, manage, and take care of Tulamar Resort and the guests who come to visit. It's a delight to have you in the studio today. And I have to tell you, for those of you who are carrying over from the last segment with us, thank you for still being here. We were in the Tula Casa
Yes.
which is the first villa on the right side as you come to enter the property. And when we went back to San Jose to be in place to fly the next day to Miami, a gentleman came to pick us up. Because, one of the things you're probably going to want to do, people, is organize, and you can do it through Tullamore Resort, to have a round-trip airport transfer. And that way you can really enjoy the drive between the airport and the resort and not have to worry about road conditions and traffic and whatnot. And there's lots to see along the way. It's a wonderful trip.
Yeah, we often advise folks, we set up the transportation to and from the international airport, and it's, there's many spots to see along the way. The drivers are always willing to stop, whether you want to get food, stop to see.
Stretch your legs. And, there are places along the way. I love the signs. And in addition to, different unusual signs, there's one spot where it says Jaco, Jaco.
Jaco, yes.
And they're individual huge letters that are done like a sculpture. And then there's a big bird on one, and there's a big monkey on another, and then there's me hanging on to one of the letters.
When you get to Jaco, you're about an hour and 5-10 minutes from us.
Yeah, it's a nice spot in the middle of the trip, but we didn't have time to stop on the way to Tullamore. But I had it on my list of must-dos before we get to San Jose that we would stop on our way back, which we did. But when the driver arrived, we asked if he would help with the luggage. And he came up to our villa. Now, this driver has been on property 8 gajillion times. When we opened the door and he came in to that first indoor area that you enter, which is a kind of like den, living room kind of area, this huge, glamorous, modern kitchen, 2 bedrooms, each with their own bath, right off the kitchen living room area, and a complete wall, and a big counter island kind of a thing to either use like a buffet or sit down and eat at, with lovely bar stools, and a complete wall that has to be, I don't know, close to 40 feet end to end of windows overlooking the veranda, which overlooks the jungle-y forest, which overlooks the Pacific. And you had to be there when the door opened, and this local resident who's driving people about all the time came in and looked around and went, wow. Because that's what it is. He'd never been inside before. He had no idea. And from the outside, you would have no idea what is awaiting you on the other side of that door.
That's true. People who, when they come to Tullamore and you drive past, because we're right there almost in the heart of the hotel district within Manuel Antonio. And so people have no idea when you get into Tullamore and the property slopes down all the way to the ocean at roughly a 45-degree angle, so that the views that are created are
spectacular.
And the unit that you were in is the best unit or best view, I would say, anywhere on property.
Well, it's the highest.
It's the absolute pinnacle of the property.
That's why I picked it.
It's the pinnacle of the property. When you're in your master bedroom there, you can't get any higher in Tullamore.
It's gorgeous. It really is gorgeous. And I have to tell you that that window wall in the kitchen den sort of area has sliders that open out to a veranda that's probably something like 30 by 60, on which there is a hot tub. There is indoor-outdoor wicker, gorgeous wicker, comfortable, big sofa, love seat, a lounge chair, coffee tables, end tables, and a huge
kitchen
round dining table with round banquet kind of seating that could easily seat, I'm going to say 10, 12 people.
20 people.
Well, if you brought in other chairs, the wicker will do probably 10, and you've got plenty of space left over. It's tremendous with a lazy Susan thing in the middle.
Because you need it.
Well, yeah, it's like when you go to Asian restaurants that are accustomed to groups of 10 or 12 coming in, and they'll have a big lazy Susan in the middle, and they put the food in the middle, and you turn it because there's no way to reach around otherwise.
Absolutely.
So I have to tell you, this spot amongst the trees is the perfect location to be in a barless, cageless zoo. Because there were macaws that were stunning. Well, actually, they're the colors I'm wearing today. They're golds and reds and turquoise and royal blue, and they fly by at breakneck speed. So you better be prepared with your camera, because getting photos is not an easy trick. But one afternoon, about 30 white-faced monkeys came in a lined-up parade. All that was missing was the balloons and the bananas. And came up by the hot tub, either walked across the top rail of the kind of fencing around the deck,
Yes.
or walked along the floor. One carried a baby. Wonderful pictures, by the way. Came across the whole deck, and then jumped from the deck to the tree, to the big mango tree,
Yes.
and went through the mangrove out into the rest of the trees and disappeared. And I realized at one point there were about a dozen of them on the deck with me. And because of where the love seat is, I was about 12 feet from about 6 of them. And then the rest were just sort of spread out, and they're coming in a line. You know that song, All in a Line, All in a Line? They were monkeys, me and the monkeys. It was a stunning experience. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Don't leave me. Stay with me. We'll be right back. I am delighted to have Chris Paul from the family that owns and manages Tullamore Resort in Costa Rica. This is an amazing place, people, and it's a wonderful place to go with friends, with family, because each of the accommodations is an individual villa that has multiple bedrooms, multiple bathrooms, balconies, terraces, and as Chris mentioned in the last segment, we were at the very first one, and I chose that one because it's the highest point at the resort, so the views are spectacular. Although the restaurant that we ate in for breakfast and lunch and dinner and whatever, almost exclusively, although there were other choices, we chose to eat there. It's probably halfway down, and still it's way up. So it's not like if you're not in that top one, you have no view. When you see the views from the restaurant, you'll see in the photos that we took, you'll see that the views are just spectacular there as well. And all along the way, you will see a variety of different styles of these villas that populate the property. And I have to tell you, the birds and the monkeys coming to visit us on the patio were just an incredible experience by themselves. There's this one sequence of photos where one of the monkeys decided to get on top of the dining table on the veranda. go to Costa Rica, especially where we were right near the Pacific Ocean, well, really right along the coastline, you want to get out on the water. And I did a little research and found that I was very impressed with the company Catamaran Adventures. They call their boats Ocean King, and they're giant-sized catamarans. They're just gorgeous. You saw as you were getting on, they're very safety conscious. The first thing they're going to let you know is where the life jackets are. If you're going to use one, you probably wanted to use it to go swimming in, although they give you other things to swim in. Those are truly meant for a critical condition, which you hope never to meet. But we went on a wonderful excursion out on, that's the Pacific Ocean, people. And many of the people that were on the boat were very much prepared to go swimming. You can see that bird, which is gigundous. I don't know what that was. It sure as heck looked like an eagle. And I loved the ambiance of the surf splashing, giant-sized splashes that probably were 20 or 30 feet high in many cases along the shore. You could see the gorgeous beaches that line the shoreline. What's nice about them is most of the beaches are not very deep. They're long. And I like that because I have to tell you, at the end of a day at the beach, the last thing you feel like doing is walking across a stretch of sand that's a block or more long. Those of you watching in the New York region know parking lot 5 at Jones Beach, New York. That must be a 2-block walk from where the sand starts until you get to the water, and then you've got the whole parking lot to walk through. So this is delightful, and you can arrive by boat, drop anchor, and go swimming off the shoreline as well. What you're seeing on the left, that is an island. It's part of a national park. The admission is free. And there are many people that come by boat to swim there. You're looking at the hot tubs on the boat. Isn't that cool? What else is interesting is that there are a few different, you can see 2 of them at the end of the boat, slides. There's another one too. And people go climb up and slide down and splash into the water. The fellow with the sunglasses is the chief operating officer for Catamaran Adventures. They take really nice care of you. And you can either go out as we did. We went out on an early morning one. There's usually one. There I am working all the time, taking notes for you. And so if you go on an early one, you'll have lunch on board. If you go on an afternoon one, they'll have something to drink and whatever, food. And then there's a sunset cruise that they do, and cocktails and basically dinner. The quality of the food they serve is very nice. Now there's that slide. And again, you've got a little bit of a view of the stacked up, ready to go in case of need life jackets. And you see flippers. And then they've got the outerwear that you put on if you want to go swimming in the water and make sure you stay buoyant. So people climb up a ladder to the second level of the boat. Many people sprawl out there like a solarium. And then they come sliding down and splashing. There are other kinds of excursions you can take, like that one with other companies that are kind of like a schooner. And you see people with their kayaks, and I mean, you're in the land of water sports, so you've got everything that you want. Now these guys with their flotation devices and their snorkel masks are going off to play in the water. Splash. Yeah, I was busy taking photos, still photos, and making notes and whatnot. And so if you don't want to get splashed, you don't want to sit too close to the rail. Very cool. Look at that. Boom. Boom. Cannonballing. Very cool. Ah, there's one of those strange sea creatures right there. Now we're coming back into port after a good couple of hours out in the Pacific. those boats are in dry dock, and here we are on our way to San Jose. Do you know the way to San Jose? And there's this wonderful signage along the side of the road. That to the right is a bus shelter. I wish we had pretty bus shelters like that. And you can see around the cove of this inlet area, the beaches and places. There's a better shot of the bus shelter. Isn't that gorgeous?
We have so much more to visit and talk about. Don't leave me. Stephanie Abrams here.
We've taken a lovely drive from Manuel Antonio to San Jose.
Tourists come to Costa Rica and they are thinking more about the iguanas and the monkeys and the volcanoes and everything that they will experience, nature related. They don't think their time in San Jose is going to be any special. We want to surprise people. We want to provide something special. The architecture of this hotel is unique, and the quality, the entire experience. And we take them by surprise, and it's a nice surprise that exceeds often the expectation of our visitors.
What I find here is for me, the intersection of Spanish and European style architecture, woodworking, mixed with the kind of thing you see often in places like upstate New York or in the Midwest, where wealthy emerging Americans in the 1800s were building fabulous homes in somewhere between 1880 and 1920 something. And that's what I feel here. This is so elegant and sophisticated, but at the same time, you don't get that sense of intimidation that some buildings you walk into and the building overpowers you. There's a warmth and a charm and a sense of come, welcome, this is your place, relax, and we will pamper you. And you've got that throughout, including in your amazing dining room that's not only gorgeous, but the food is spectacular. Just spectacular. So I don't know, how does all that come to happen in San Jose, Costa Rica?
I mean, the hotel is, yes, very elegant and nice furniture and everything, but it's just a big house where we host guests. And people can come into our restaurant in sandals and shorts, not a problem. We are here to please our guests and all of our locals that come to enjoy the facilities as well. We're just happy. We don't have a magic secret to have success. We just try very hard to please. We listen to our guests and we help them so they can have a very nice stay. It's nothing but just hard work.
How many actual accommodations are there here?
We have 40 rooms.
Are they all, if you were at full capacity, how many people could you accept?
Guest could be up to about 96. We have some rooms that can accommodate up to 4 people. So, but let's run it up about 100 people if we were all the rooms completely taken. And then we have our restaurant, which it's host. We do average day 300 people between breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So we do have a big crowd every day in the hotel.
But there are other things about it that kind of remind me of the Midwest of the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
And to some degree, a kind of reflection of some of the restaurants I know and love in Chicago that are, lots of dark woods, and the banquettes that probably seat 8 people, I think. The big, upholstered, beautiful sitting areas to cordially dine and have conversation. Although I have to tell you, I was watching how many people were on their iPhones last night. We were having dinner. It's like, but I have a feeling some of them were like me, very busy taking some photos so that I could share them in my blog and elsewhere with people. So it's the kind of place you want to capture and remember forever.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, we have so many locals in our restaurant dining every day. It's become a restaurant where people, propose. We have had so many beautiful scenes of, we help our guests to do something special when they come to a, proposal evening and anniversaries. And
Well, it's that kind of atmosphere because it's charming, it's elegant. It's a real. Every place I have looked, anywhere I look, it's just a beautiful place. But also interesting. As you walk through, and as we went through to find our accommodation, we were inside, and yet you felt like you were outside in a kind of Spanish plaza with the big water fountain, the kind of thing you'd see in Sevilla in Spain. Inside, as you're walking down the corridor to get to your accommodation, and then as we made the turn to go off to where our space is, there are all these trees growing there. But, you have this moment of, am I inside or am I outside at the moment? So what's the deal there?
You just really, if you don't take advantage of how plants and trees grow in the tropics, then you lose a great opportunity. I mean, it just takes a little time,
A little encouragement.
to look after your plants, and they pay you back in a nice way, and you have all this beautiful atmosphere.
But that's an indoor space, no?
Exactly, yeah.
You don't feel that. You feel like you are walking through a garden on the exterior to reach your room, and yet you're walking on carpet.
Exactly.
And you're indoors, and they're not plastic trees, people. These are the real deal, and just really amazing. And the look of I've been to so many places in Mexico, so many places in Spain, even places in Puerto Rico that have the Spanish influence of those the ceramic tile, the hand-painted ceramic tiles that are laid out around a fountain that's bubbling over. I thought it was raining. As we were coming down the corridor, I thought we must be near windows and it must be raining. And then I realized, no, it's the fountain. And it's indoors. It's just... By the way, people, the Hotel Hershey in Hershey, Pennsylvania, has a very big public area for just vegging about that has a huge fountain. That this fountain here at the Grano de Oro Hotel in San Jose, Costa Rica, has a small version of that as you're walking along. It's remarkable. I want to thank you so much for being the good educator you are to me, or I never would have made a point of finding this hotel and sharing it with our audiences who need to know all about it, because you come to Costa Rica, the place is amazing. We have arrived in Crystal River in Citrus County, Florida at Plantation on Crystal River. A lovely place to be, and they have an adventure center right on the grounds because they're right on the river, and you can go out in one of their pontoon boats and you can do what I'm about to do, and that's stay on the boat, take pictures, and talk to the manatees, or you can put on a wetsuit and get in the water and swim with them. And you'll see there's signage and when you're out on the river that tells you what you can and can't do. Mainly you need to swim in certain areas and you need to not touch the manatees. Now there's Santa with the sled being pulled by a manatee, and we were there just before Christmas time. And you can see it, the lobby main area when you first come in. It's very kind of colonial looking. Now we're going to go out on a boat with the Adventure Center at Plantation on Crystal River. Here's the pelicans getting the fishermen's leftovers from filleting their catch. And that's Michael Menka, who's the general manager of the Plantation on Crystal River, taking us out to see manatees, and there's one right there in front of you. They look like a big, long rock. Now in this shot, you can see their tails. Look how long that is. So that's an adult. There are two in front of you there. You see the little nose sticking out of the water? And that's a swim area marked, and it's got buoys and whatnot. This is a baby manatee. Come over to the boat to play with the rope that you'd use to tie the boat up at the dock and play with that manatee was having the best time with the rope and the fenders on the boat. Those sausage-looking things meant to keep the boat from hitting the side of the dock when it's tied up. But that blue rope and that manatee became great friends. Now watch when their noses come out. About every 5 minutes they come up for air. So we're going to see that happen. There we go. Look at that face. Look at that face. They're so dreadful looking that they're cute. There's just something very fun about them. And they're just sweet, docile creatures. Look at that face. And we were, I was leaning over the edge of the boat watching this story. Look at that. Here comes the nose. Incredible, no? And there are hundreds and hundreds of them there. Now those white marks on their skin, they call them barnacles. But they're, from getting scratched up against things and whatnot. I think probably the biggest danger to manatees is motorboats. Because sometimes they get caught up in the propellers of the motor. Not pretty. The moms and dads grow to be 1,500 pounds, 2,000 pounds. So when I say there are tons of manatees in the water, here comes the nose again, up for some air. Mom and baby. And they cuddle up together. They're so sweet. Having the best time with that rope. One of them tried to walk up the ladder. That was something to see. That's me. Not that nose. The red hair in the left corner. That was me. Leaning over, talking to him. Taking some still photos. And you talk to them. They come right up to you. But you can get a good shot here with their skin. They look like big stone rocks.
Darling people, I am on one of the, I guess is this a motorboat, a pontoon boat? It's some kind of boat that's operated, they have several, by the folks at Plantation at Crystal River in Crystal River, Florida. And they have this adventure center, and there are folks out there snorkeling, and they're out there swimming with the manatees, basically. And there's all kinds of rules that we're going to share with you about swimming with manatees, and basically just being as passive as you can be and letting them come and sort you out, as opposed to you doing anything that truly outreaches to them. I, of course, am on the boat. You know you're not getting me snorkeling, but I'm enjoying watching the people who are and getting photos. As you can see, I am well decked out, and we're going to be sharing now with you some of the photos as well as the video that we have captured aboard this wonderful boat and with our wonderful crew. And if you look overboard, oh my gosh, there's a manatee right there now, and it's got barnacles on it. You see those white things on its body? There are big mommy manatees. They weigh about 1,500 pounds, and they're here with their calves. They are mammals. And look at this face coming up here. Hello, you. I think I'll get some photos, too. So we'll share those with you. Get some close-ups. Smile for me, Miss Manatee. Can you smile for me? Beautiful. This manatee's crazy in love with the buoys, the fenders, those bumper things so you don't hit the dock on the sides of the boat, and also the ropes, because the ropes are trailing on the side of the boat, and they come up to nibble and play with the ropes. It's hilarious. Crystal River is about an hour and change from Orlando, and about an hour and a half from Tampa, Florida. So if you can get yourself to Florida, Tampa is an easy airport to fly in and out. You can get yourself here to Crystal River, and I hope you do, because this is one of those life-altering experiences. It's in the fleet of motorboats and pontoon boats that are owned and operated by Plantation in Crystal River, a wonderful resort in Crystal River, Florida. And I'm very happy to be here with our boat captain today, Memphis Zachary, who has a vast amount of travel experience in his young and interesting life. So we're going to get caught up on what's cooking here. We're on an early morning manatee exploration trip, and there are some folks that came out on the boat with us this morning who are out swimming with the manatees. I'm very happy to be hanging over the edge, just taking photos and sharing all that with you. Thank you for making the time to talk to us.
Yes,
Memphis.
no problem.
You were. Why don't you give us an overview of what goes on? How many times a day do you actually take a boat out?
Well, it depends the time of the year, really. In the summertime, we have fewer manatees, so we generally run fewer tours, one to two a day.
So it's somewhere between November and March that you see the most manatees.
Yeah, it's all weather driven. So the colder the temperature is, the more manatees come in here to the bay.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
No pun intended there, but
Yeah.
very cool. We've seen, yesterday we were out on a boat, today we're here. I think between the two experiences, we've probably seen at least 50 manatees.
Yes.
At least. I mean, that may be an understatement in terms
yeah.
of the numbers.
Yeah.
There's some really serious rules about being in the water. It's wonderful to see the level of care and protection and education that goes on before people can get in the water and swim with them.
Yes.
Maybe you can just run through overview, in essence, the core information that somebody would need to know if they want to swim with the manatees.
Yeah, really it comes down to just being calm, quiet, and relaxed in the water. When you get in the water,
So you don't scare them.
Yes, so you don't scare them. They're very sensitive to their surroundings. They can feel the most minimal vibrations in the water. So if you get in the water and you're splashing, or you're very nervous and your heart's pumping, they can feel all that energy.
Kidding. You know, it hasn't happened in the longest time, but every now and then I would have one of our current or former dogs on a leash, very happily walking along, and some, usually adult, but occasionally a child, starts screaming and carrying on like there's a lion loose in the neighborhood. And it's like, you're scaring my dog. Can you stop that? You're frightening my dog.
Yes.
But I can see how that would relate, especially, I would imagine most manatees don't get real up close and personal with people. So for many, it may be a new experience.
Yes. Well, they are very curious. So if you're calm in the water and relaxed, they will come up to you. They like interaction with humans, just so you're, passive and being respectful.
They're dolphin-like in that sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've been lying over the edge of the rail here. We had, as soon as we dropped anchor here, one of them was like climbing up the ladder.
Yeah.
I couldn't get the camera out fast enough to catch that picture, but check out Abrams, SABRAMS.com, and Travelers411.com, our family of award-winning websites, and you'll find photos in my blog and elsewhere online, and of course the archived video of this episode of Travel TV with Stephanie Abrams. So, you've been doing this how long?
About 6 years total. I spent 3 years as an in-water guide, and this last 3 years as a captain. I stay on the boat, make sure everybody's
Do you miss being in the water?
At times, not so much in the wintertime when it's cold.
Yeah, but you don't know what cold is.
Yeah.
I mean, you talk about cold in Florida.
Yeah.
Come and visit me. We live in the mountains of western Massachusetts, and let me introduce you to what cold is.
Yeah.
Come back next week. We'll go somewhere wonderful and talk about great travel tips to make your travels wonderful so you can travel richly. This is Stephanie Abrams. Gotta fly now.